Hi everybody, my name is Krista Loos. I'm one of the dietitians here at KSB Hospital. I wanted to talk to you guys today on a little bit about sports nutrition, doing just a short little introduction on some big nutrition tips to help with performance and fueling adequately for sports nutrition. So, kind of objectives for the day. We're going to talk about the role of each macronutrient. I'm going to introduce the athlete's plate visual, two different versions of that. That'll kind of help guidance on kind of changing intake based on activity level. And then I'll touch on hydration. So kind of diving into those macronutrients. Carbohydrates are our body's preferred energy source. So carbohydrates have kind of been villainized a little bit, but our body really prefers to use it as energy, especially with activity, and it's also our brain's primary energy source. And so some of those carbohydrate-rich foods, we have some of our starches, breads, grains, tortillas, muffins, those kinds of foods. We have some starchy veggies like potatoes, peas, corn. We also kind of have this overlap category we can see there where those peas, beans, legumes are falling. Fruits are also a carbohydrate source as well. Then we have our protein-rich foods, which are our muscles' building blocks. Same with our tissues and bones, really like to have protein too for those building up those systems. And so from that activity standpoint, when we're doing any kind of activity, especially some of those strength training activities, we're having some of that muscle breakdown. So we really need to have protein-rich foods to help rebuild, repair those muscles. And so as we can see in the center here, some of our protein-rich foods can be animal-based or plant-based. We have fish, dairy products, red meat, poultry. We have cheese, eggs, the kind of beans, nuts, legumes would also fall under that category. Then we have fat. So fat is important for vitamin absorption. We have some fat-soluble vitamins we can't absorb without having a fat source. It's important for hormone production, and it's also kind of the main structural component to our cells. And so again, here we see coconut, avocado, nuts, seeds, olive oil. All of those are really great fat sources. So, introducing the athlete's plate. This is the moderate training plate. So this would be a great baseline that I would encourage people to start at for like breakfast, lunch, dinner, if we're doing activity throughout the day. And so again, we have the carbohydrates, a protein-rich food, colorful foods like fruits and veggies. We have some kind of fat source at meal times, and then we want to make sure we're also staying adequately hydrated. And so the big difference we'll see when we flip over to this hard intensity training plate is that the grains or carbohydrate portion moved from about a third of the plate to half of the plate. And that kind of speaks to, again, carbohydrates being our body's preferred energy source. And so as our training level or intensity of activity is increasing, our utilization of glucose, which comes from carbohydrates, is also increasing. We also see an increase in kind of fat consumption as intensity of training increases. And that just speaks to like bigger energy output, needing to make sure we have an increased energy intake coming in to support that activity level and recovery. And these athletes' plates were made by the United States Olympic and Paralympic Committee, and also in conjunction with UCCS, a university in Colorado Springs. So I want to make sure I give credit to them. And then we have hydration. So general hydration needs throughout the day for all individuals is whatever our weight is, dividing it by 2, and that's about how many ounces of fluid we need each day. Then when we're adding in that activity piece, an additional like 16 to 24 ounces of fluid for roughly every 60 minutes of activity. So these are kind of ballpark ranges just to make sure we're getting enough of that hydration. Every body is a little bit different. And so that's kind of why too we're seeing ranges with that additional fluid. And then too, like this could also be higher based on temperature throughout the day. Both hot and cold temperatures can increase our hydration needs. And then kind of the conversation of electrolytes. Is it beneficial? I would say in most cases, yes, especially if sweat rate is high. The primary electrolyte we're losing in our sweat is sodium or salt. And so really making sure that we're intentional with having electrolytes after exercise, really even maybe some kind of salty meal after exercise. And that is all today for our little introduction to sports nutrition. We can definitely talk about some post-activity nutrition at some point too, but hopefully this is helpful in kind of creating some good goals around making sure we have adequate intake with activity and adequate hydration with activity. As always, thank you to KSB Community and Wellness for hosting these nutrition topics, and look for nutrition next month for our next little segment. Thank you. Have a good day.